if a student is just there to check the box in a sense, I'm not the right professor for them. They're not going to get the most out of the experience with me. If they need everything to be super duper, check the box, itemized, bullet pointed, like scheduled, like everything needs to be like that in the experience of myself and what we create together, they're gonna not like it. But if the student is open to the idea of, I am, as a student, want to be a career artist and creator, then you're gonna have a good time with me. Because it's like you are committed to the concept of being an artist, and we will just, as long as you're making work and doing it and excited and engaged. And I don't care about the schedule. I don't care about turning things on time. I don't care about any of that. Just make some cool ass shit and let's do it and talk about it. And so you're going to have a lot better time. So it's kind of like I told my students this week, again, we were thinking about, we're in flu season. I guess it's pretty bad this year. There's like multiple strains of flu happening. Of course, we still have COVID that we're dealing with. There's just like lots of sickness happening in our society. And I was like, man, if you're sick, stay home. Don't come. Just don't worry. Don't worry about the schedule. Don't worry about turning. Just communicate with me. Email me. We'll join Zoom. We'll figure it out. I told him I prefer it when you're able to share with the class, because I don't want to see the work. I want you to share with the class. That's what I want to have happen. But if that doesn't happen, then we'll meet up separately. I'll go over your work together and we'll just keep you on track. But don't worry. So with that in mind, it was like zooming out a little bit. As long as you care, as long as you actually want to do something and make work, it'll all work itself out. You don't have to stress about what day you turn it in. As long as you care about it, as long as you're trying to make something cool, that's what matters. And I know it's hard. I told him I know probably every other professor in this environment is like schedule, just here for the paycheck, whatever it might be. I don't know. It's like, do it like, it's just, but for me, the art, it's like it's 24/7, 365. And it kind of leads me into what like I'm looking for. Like, it's part of why I want to find a home. And I wish these, every place that I've applied to this year seemed like a place that I would be willing to make my home. And I haven't got any response to it because I just think my resume is not thick enough yet or long enough. My CV is not long enough. I'm sure that's plays a factor. And so they don't know what I just feel bad for everybody that's not even giving me a chance, because I know they would get what they want. They want somebody that dedicates themselves to that environment, to that space. And it makes it their life. And that's what I'm ready to do. But nobody's willing to I just, for whatever reason at this point, it doesn't seem like these spaces can see that from me. And maybe I'm not, and I just think it's because I'm not, I need another 5 years or something. I need a longer resume, that's my belief. I could be totally wrong about it. I don't know what it is they might be looking for. Maybe they just don't think my work's good enough. Or maybe, I don't know what it is. Or maybe the fact that I am an activist with my artwork and the subject matter I do, they don't want to tread too deeply in that space, which I'd be surprised about, but that could be the idea. I mean, there could be multiple factors why, but the fact that I haven't got any response from any place I've applied to this year is a straight bummer for me, because I'm ready. I'm just ready. I'm really exhausted, as you've been hearing me say over, and I'm ready to try to establish, like, I don't know, a financial stability for one, but also just, I feel like it'll be easier to make more work and better work if I have a designated space to make work. I don't know. Part of me too is like, I'm kind of going on a tangent here. Part of me is like, I keep recall this idea of going to Detroit is still like in my mind, and I might just pack it up and go and just figure it out and just like hope, cross my fingers that there's a college I can teach at some classes and I don't know, but it would be obviously nice to have the job, first, and then go wherever the job is that's in an area that I want to be. But I don't know, we'll see. So the bottom line though is I want to create an environment of being an educator and artist that it's like it just happens when it happens. It doesn't happen on a schedule because I'm dedicated to it, and maybe it'll change. Maybe if I meet somebody, but since I'm single and since I want to be like, I'm married to the idea of being an artist and doing it. I'm not thinking about where I'm going to go on vacation. I'm not thinking about where, my summer home I want to buy, or where I want to move, or where I want to retire, or where this or that. It's like I just want to be immersed in a space of art making and this academia and supporting students, and just have it be this like exciting sort of environment of creation and dedication to the idea. And I don't know. So that's what I try to share with my students. Like, get out of your own way. If you don't actually want to do this stuff, then do something else. Don't waste everybody's time. It's like not willing to share your work, not willing to talk about things, trying to hide in the corners of. It's like, what are you doing here? Anyways, a little bit of this week's experience is starting to come out more, but there's just not enough students that are dedicated to the concept. They think it's like a career that's like they could do on the side. And it's like, no, if you want to do anything that has to do with creativity, art making, it's gotta be your lifestyle. When you get cut, you gotta bleed ink, basically. You gotta bleed artistic creativity. It's not just something that you do because you think you kind of like it. You got to do it because it's what you wake up thinking about. It's what you fall asleep thinking about. It's what like I said, when you get cut, your blood runs art. It's just, you have something you're passionate about saying, you want to say, you have a voice, you have a point of view, and then on that journey, learning figuring out like the balance between what you're passionate about and what you need to make money at. I feel sorry for all the artists that only make, the difference between being an artist and being artistic, right? If you just want to be artistic, then fine. You're gonna just kind of, I don't know what that is. I can't relate, honestly. I can't relate to anybody that just wants to be artistic but doesn't want to actually be an artist. Because to be an artist, you have a point of view, you have something to say, you're passionate, you live, sleep, eat, drink, everything art. It's like you're like trying to push the ideas beyond, you're trying to grow, you're trying to educate, you're trying to fill yourself up with the history and the contemporary and everything that's going on and challenging the status quo. And like, it's not just, I just feel like drawing pictures. I just want to make something that's pretty. So, I don't know if I ever completed the thought. I just trying to impress upon my students that, hey, you have access to me 24/7, 365. Let's just make art. Let's be creative. Don't get too caught up in the schedule. And if you need me to be bullet pointed, scheduled out, perfect everything, you're going to have a hard time. You're going to have a hard time. And I'm going to have a hard time because it'll make it look like I don't know what I'm doing when I actually do. Because they're like, oh, he's not organized enough. It's like, no, you're not dedicated enough. You don't care to actually learn. You don't care to actually be creative. You don't care to actually problem solve. You need all the problems to be solved for you so that you can just, I don't know, pretend you're doing art and making stuff. You got to be dedicated to figuring out the problems and just go with it. Just go with it.